Hey family, trust you're doing well. I want to quickly cover 7 simple questions to ask yourself about every single environment. Once again, that's 7 simple questions to ask yourself about every environment. You are preaching, teaching, leading, whether it's kids ministry, youth ministry, worship ministry, all of it. We are kind of cultural architects. We're environmentalists when it comes to the environment, the atmosphere that we create. And so I want to go over 7 simple questions that you need to ask yourself. And they're going to seem somewhat odd, but I think at the root of it, this is just to kind of get you started. And once you start asking these 7 questions, it might lead to more questions, or you might stop at 2 or stop at 3 and figure out, man, I got a lot of work to do. So first one is this. What does this space smell like? It's very practical in nature, but how many of you have ever been to a place, it did not smell good, and it didn't matter how nice it was, the smell is what stops you. That is the case for every environment that you control. Worship, kids, youth, sanctuary, auditorium, whatever you call it. What does this space smell like? We contract a company that Marriott Hotel uses and everything like that to bring in special diffusers of scent so that our environment smells clean, smells nice, and we're never put off by, maybe we had middle schoolers, the all-nighter on Saturday night, and it still smells like the inside of a shoe in our church. That doesn't happen for us because we're always asking ourselves, what does this space smell like? Number 2, when was the last time this space was cleaned? When was the last time this space was cleaned? This is a question you need to ask yourself, and if you have the affordability to hire someone to do the church cleaning, you want to ensure that they clean it as close to Sunday morning. Well, for us, we have our services on Sunday morning, as close to your biggest day as possible. So our cleaners come in on Saturday night in the middle of the night, sometimes 10, 11 o'clock. I'll find myself praying here for the next day, and the cleaners will come in and all the trash is taken out and everything is vacuumed and swept and cleaned and looked over. That way, the very next day, the very next time our building is used is when we have church. That is question number 2. Question number 3, how clear are the signs to get to the restrooms? How clear are the signs to get to the restrooms? Are there a bunch of places to go and a bunch of arrows with the restrooms kind of in the middle? One of the things that I've found is that when you make the restrooms clear, maybe by having their own sign or by really making it bold, making it big, it helps calm the nerves of anyone who might be wondering, I don't really want to ask where the bathroom is at. Make that question something that they don't have to ask because of your signage when it comes to your restroom. In addition to that, this is like question 3, part B. The women's restroom is so vital and important when it comes to creating an environment to make sure you walk through it. There's enough, obviously, paper goods, and it smells good, and that everything is flushing properly and all those things. You want to make sure that you cover the restrooms. It's really important because it's very awkward when a restroom is not working and a guest goes inside and has to tell someone, who do they find? I'm new here. I don't know who's in charge. Those kind of things. Number 4, does the lighting in this room add or subtract to the environment I'm trying to create? So are the fluorescents really big, and is it too bright? Do I feel like I can see everything all around me is very distracting, or is everything kind of toned down, and can I focus on whatever the lighting is on? Is the lighting focused on what I want everyone's attention to be on, whether that's the person communicating from the stage? Is it bright enough for them to see my facial expressions? Is it clear enough, or does it feel too dark, or does it feel too bright? Make sure that you ask yourself about the lighting. Number 5, should there be refreshments readily available in this space? And so there's nothing that breaks a conversation up like a cup of coffee, maybe like a little cheese tray, whatever it is. Sometimes there are some environments that it's just so much better just to have something that breaks the staleness of the meeting. Maybe not on a Sunday, you're not bringing your bagged lunch to church, but maybe afterwards there's a freezy pop in the summer, a little, a table with little popsicles or something. Why? Because there's something about food that is the currency of family, and so it breaks up the awkwardness of most meetings. Do you know what a meeting is without refreshments? It's called an email. All right, the next question is, what is the temperature set at in this space? This is important. This is a great debate. People have left churches. People have left churches that they were at for decades because of the temperature. So this is a big deal. You want to make sure that your room is at a comfortable temperature. I always side on the cooler side, and the reason being is because you can always, bring a sweater or bring a jacket, but you can only take off so many layers until it's really weird. And so you want to make sure that the temperature is set very well. What we've discovered is that the later in the day, the hotter our room gets because the sun is up, obviously cooking the roof. And so if we have something in the evening, we need to turn on the air earlier to cool the room down. And when you have someone that does facilities, they can help you with that. If you don't have someone that does facilities, that's okay. You just make sure that the temperature in the room is always at a comfortable level. Think about that. You might be warm from being on the stage and huffing and puffing and singing and dancing and shouting and preaching and doing all those things, but maybe you're freezing out all of your first-time guests that just showed up. And the last question, number 7, super practical, very simple. Is the screen I am presenting on big enough for the person on the back row to see clearly? One more time. Is the screen I am presenting on big enough for a person on the back row to see clearly? I've met so many people who love to teach on the little TV, but the font is so small that if I'm sitting on the back row, there's no way I could read that verse. There's no way I know that point. There's no way I could sing that song because I cannot read those lyrics. So do yourself and your first-time guest a favor and come to the back of the room for a couple of minutes during run-through or practice and watch your sermon slides, watch your song lyrics, and say, can I read those from the very back of the room? I hope these 7 simple questions help foster conversation with your team. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.